Since we're not in here?
We are about to start as it's going live. Yeah, go ahead.
A woman who's on birth control pills.
Yep.
Anything that she sees, she's going to see, but she doesn't see, she sees bi-monthly action.
Yep.
Does she count? Does she count onos or not?
Why not?
It's not like it's like a dummy.
I mean, there is a svara.
But the Maisa
The Maisa, they say do it anyway. There's a svara, maybe you could be mitzaref it if you have another reason to be makel. You know what I'm saying? But
the law is everyone.
As far as I know. I asked Rabbi Wosner about it once. His grandfather is mitzaded in the Shir Shevet HaLevi that maybe it should be like a stomach.
Like what? Like this?
Like maybe. But it's like a svara, but he doesn't say clear psak. I asked him, he was not makel. But it's a tziruf if you have another reason to be makel, if it's a suffix or whatever.
Yeah.
Not stam.
We continue a little bit,
yeah.
We finish with that.
Yeah, so the story is, my friends, that we basically finished the halachas of brachas on smells. Oh, let me just post that we're in the back today. I forgot to post that. Not that we're really expecting anybody, are we? David Leib, maybe.
Close. First one.
Tell me he's going away. Nathan, I think, is working for a few weeks. Okay.
There's 7 of these?
Who wrote that? Nice. Okay. So let's just discuss any questions about brachas on smell that I did not discuss till now. Have a look in the notes that I sent out and see if there's anything that still has to be discussed. Okay, we discussed perfume. We discussed mixtures, discussed the order, discussed the fact that some people question brachas on fruits if they're not expected to be smelled so much. We discussed, I'm sorry? Samim is expected to be smelled, that's for sure. We discussed yesterday that if you are in a shop of perfume, then even for walking in, you make a bracha, because that smell is expected to be smelled, as opposed to if you walk into a place that happens to have a smell, so it's not there for smell, you don't make a bracha, unless you have the object that's giving the smell, you lift it up to your nose, so it's in that position, then it's there for the smell, and you make the bracha, yes.
So Rabbi Dvir, when he's going to the store every day, he has to do bracha?
That's correct.
Wow.
Tell him.
Of course. See you next time.
Wait, what?
He does.
Perfume?
He sells perfume, yeah. Oh, you mean because maybe they're not synthetic? Maybe they're synthetic? Ask him, he probably knows. If he has any perfumes that are not synthetic, that have natural good smell, then he can make a bracha. Tell him. So if you leave and you are Masiach Das, you leave for a lunch break, whatever, then you make a bracha. In and out, you don't make a bracha. Basically the same dinim of Hesach Hadas as you have for food, except that there is no digestion. We discussed the besamin that has no ikr. If it's a smell that is just spray and there's no source, like you sprayed it and the bottle is somewhere else and you just have nothing tangible, there's no bracha on that. There has to be something tangible. Ikr. Has to have an ikr.
Like incense or smoke.
Bracha has an ikr. I mean, incense comes up out of burning things.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it comes from an acre. Comes from an acre. It comes from something.
And cigars, people that now have the cigar clubs in the
I saw the poskim discuss, I don't remember where, that really the smell of tobacco is not a good smell, and they add other smells to cover up the tobacco smell. It's not that it's really a good smell. So that smell, that good smell is not really there for its smell. It's really there to
and they
cover up the
enjoy
tobacco.
people that get together to smoke. They kind of enjoy the smell.
Right. But b'chol zot, it's not made for that. In other words, if it's true, I mean, assuming,
The more aromatic the tobacco is.
right, I'm assuming that the truth is, I think I read it about a pipe. I don't think I read it about a cigar.
Cigar.
But what it said there, maybe in the Dirshu, what it said there is that the good smell of the pipe is really added to counter the bad smell of tobacco. So the poskim say that's not really considered a good smell for itself, even if you enjoy it, and even if you get it together with friends who enjoy it. But the original purpose of it was not for the good smell, but to counter the bad smell. So in that sense, it's like what we discussed yesterday: air freshener or other things that are to counter bad smells, which don't make a bracha, don't get a bracha. Yeah.
It's mazik.
אוקיי, זה משהו אחר.
אפשר לברך על משהו שמזיק לגוף.
טוב.
זה מה שאני חושב.
And what if you eat saturated fat? I'm just saying. What if you eat heavy, fatty meat? Person with a heart condition, he eats heavy, fatty meat.
כן,
מזיק לגוף.
האכילה זה אחרת.
אז מה זה אחרת? למה? אתה נהנה, אתה מברך. בסוף זה מצטבר, עושה סכנה. אבל עכשיו אתה נהנה. תראה, אני לא אומר להשם, חס ושלום, זה סכנה. אני הפסקתי לפני איזה 30 שנה. Smoked like when I was a teenager for a few months, Baruch Hashem. I got out of that. But, so,
Sometime.
Baruch Hashem. Don't tell my kids. Anyway, so, but I don't know if that's a reason not to make a bracha, because you're enjoying the smell. You're also doing, at the same time that you're enjoying the smell, you're also doing something dangerous in the long run. But I don't know if that's a reason not to make a bracha. I mean, we don't make a bracha for the reasons that I said.
Some reason.
No, because the smell, tobacco, it has a bad smell.
Yeah.
Any other smell they add is to counter, lenaged at reach hara. As a smell that's there to go against the bad smell, you don't make a bracha.
But if somebody enjoys that smell, I mean, they love the smoke of tobacco, whatever.
Oh, so here's the
I mean,
thing.
it's not like
We said yesterday, Rafal brought, that maybe if you buy, we looked it up after, actually, somebody brought it. So it's a bracha. Somebody brought it that if you buy something that's made to go against the bad smell, air freshener, for example, people buy, it's made to use in bathrooms or other places that have bad smell, but you personally enjoy it and you bought it to enjoy the smell, not to counter any bad smells. So some of the poskim that they brought said you can make a bracha because for you, it's for a good smell. Others said no, because in the factory they made it for that purpose. That's the way it stays. So you could say that if you beferish buy cigars because you like the smell, maybe. I don't know. Neither do I, but I know people that do.
So, Rabbi,
Yes.
You know that the ketoret, there's a small stick and you light it and you let it go, and it's born by itself, it smells to fresh the house. So also this is for blushing too.
If what?
You know, it's like a stick, small stick, and you fire it and then the stick is born and all the smell goes
it's incense.
Incense, yeah.
So is this also blushing too?
Why not?
בורא מיני בשרים?
אני לא יודע ממה זה עשוי.
כן.
סתם איזה מיני בשמים, כי זה סתם יש כל מיני חומרים שם. סתם, לא יודע.
גם ברכה. זה ברכה.
כן, אבל לא. Okay, forbidden besamim we discussed of a woman that you know, whether she's wearing it or not. What's a Shabbos we discussed. Ashkenazim, Sfardim make the correct bracha. Ashkenazim make minei, but it's better to take a minei besamim in the first place. Okay, let me look at my notes. Anything else? Okay, so that's basically what it is. I just wanted to go over a few points that I wanted to go over from last week's shir. We're just discussing the question of Benji's here. Very good. Who's number 3, by the way? I guess number 3 is me, actually. I guess I'm the third one. Okay, so it's Benji and Daniel. Okay, so we're discussing last week the halachas of Kedima, Din Kedima bebrachas. And Rafael asked the question about the pasuk. What does the pasuk say? Did you see what I sent you?
Couldn't read it.
Okay.
I was going to ask, but I just figured we'd talk.
It's one of those sfarim that I only have the old print. I don't know if they ever reprinted it better, but my Yotzer only has the old print.
What center is it?
It's where are you? Didn't send you the top of it, just the bottom. Oh, you're right. I only sent you the bottom. I think it's the Sheilas Yavitz, actually. No, I'm saying it's the Yavitz. I'm not mistaken. I have it in my notes. But anyway, so the question is, Rafal was asking, why does the pasuk have to write 2 eretzes? I don't know if this is the exact question, but this is what I got out of it. When we said that the one that's closer to eretz is more chashav, why don't we just write it in order based on the way it's supposed to be after it's basically written out of order. So the last 2 are closer to eretz, so we have to move them back in the list, back up to the front, and it should be Chita is the most important, it's closest to eretz, first eretz. Then comes Zayis, because it's closest to the second eretz. Then comes Sa'ira, because it's second to the first eretz. Then comes Vash Tamorim, dates, because it's closest to the second eretz. It's second to the second eretz. And then comes Gef and Teinariman, because 3rd, 4th, and 5th to the first eretz. To the first eretz. Gef and Teinariman are 3rd, 4th, and 5th to the first eretz. Eretz, Chita, Sa'ira, Gef, and Teinariman.
Oh.
So there's no conflict between the second of the first and the second of the second?
The second of the first comes before the second of the second, because the second of the first. Second of the first. It's very complicated.
What's again?
Eretz Chitu Sa'ira, Gef and Tein Ariman, Eretz Hashem and Advash. Pays to be a Makar. You get to learn, Sukkim by heart. So the point is, it also pays, Baruch Hashem. The point is, why write it in this way? Why not just write Eretz, Chita, the Gefen, the Sa'ira, the Dvash, Gefen Teinarim? Right? Chita, Zayis, Sa'ira, Dvash, Gefen Teinarim. That's the order in the end of the day. So what I said yesterday or last week was very balabatish. Chita, Sa'ira, they belong together because they're both grains, and then you list the 5 fruits. But the Sheilas Yavitz says a whole nother word, and it's an answer to a question that was brought up only in the later Achrayim.
Couldn't even read it. Forget the. Couldn't even read the Hebrew. I was so embarrassed. I didn't even understand how to read that. It
It's an old print. Listen, that
No,
was
not the horrible.
oh, the language.
Version. I didn't understand
The language, yeah, it's a bit hard. It's a bit hard. Anyway, Bekitzer, here's the story. The late Achroinim asked, not so late, the Abbot wasn't late, but it's a question that didn't come up in the Shoinim or early Achroinim. Who says that the pasuk meant to tell you which fruit is more important than the other one? Who says just because it puts it in a certain order? I mean, there's 7 fruits of Eretz Yisrael. Maybe they're all exactly equal, and the Torah had to write them one at a time. Can't write them all at once, like Zachav v'Shomer b'Dibur Echad Nemru. You know what I'm saying? Hashem could say it all at once, but Hashem can't write it all at once. I mean, it has to be written in a certain order. Exactly. Shvatim, sometimes in one order, sometimes in another order. So this was the question. So I came across several answers to the question. So Reb Chaim Brisker, when he was at, not Reb Chaim, sorry, the Brisker, Rav Abel Brisker, when he was asked the question, he didn't accept the premise of the question. What do you mean Hashem had to? Hashem had to write it in order because you can't say it all at once. Hashem didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to do anything. He wrote it in order. It's for a reason. For example, he said, we see that Moshe and Aaron are equal because some says Moshe and Aaron, some says Aaron and Moshe. So you see Hashem figures out ways, so to speak, figures out. Hashem has ways to tell us that they're equal if they're equal. The fact is, they told us in an order, it's in order. Then there's this Sfas Emes who asks this question, and he basically doesn't, he presents it as if he's answering, but the answer is not clear. And the way I understand the answer, maybe I'm wrong, the way I understand this Sfas Emes is simple. Sfas Emes says, because Hashem wrote it in that order, it makes it chashuv. I think we were alluding to this. Is it chashuv and that's why Hashem put it in order, or is it because Hashem put it in order and that's why it's chashuv? I think that's what Sfas Emes means in his answer.
It's the exact opposite of the
Pashtus.
the Yavitz, no?
The Yavitz is a whole different word.
Oh, the first word.
Of this word, yeah. Mazib Shalom. No, what does it say in that water? It says something.
Please do not drink.
You sure it doesn't say like poison or something? What does it say?
Favor no votar. Moment. Pride, don't drink. Please don't drink. Favor no. What's votar?
And throw away.
Don't throw away. We're not throwing it away.
So they keep it to fill it up water. Don't worry, it's good.
Okay.
You get that all the time.
Got it. Okay, so the Sfas Emes seems to say Hashem wrote it in the order, and that's important. Of course, it's one
Meaning,
Hashem.
if we don't see another reason, meaning we didn't see, Hashem could have.
Simply because, not because of Hashem.
No, well, Hashem put a lot of things in order, but then He made it equal or different.
Okay, yeah, if you see another, yeah, but other than that, just the fact that Hashem put it in that order, He could have put it in a different order. He put it in that order, that gives it chashivas.
That's
So
kind
a
of
different
like
word.
the brisker.
No, the Brisker was not saying. The Brisker was saying Hashem put it in order because that's the order that of the chashivas. You're saying Hashem had to write it. He couldn't write it in a different way. Hashem has ways to write it. Don't worry about Hashem.
I mean, they're kind of same.
No, it's a different word. He's saying, if I understand correctly, that the maybe there was nothing chashuv until the Torah came along. The Torah put it in that order that makes it chashuv. Okay, then the Yavit says a whole nother word. The Yavit says, if it would have said Eretz Chita, Zayas, Soira, Dvash, Geffen everyone, then you would have the question Taka. Maybe it's just random that way. But here we see the pasuk put the word Eretz in a second Eretz. And Chazal understood that it's telling you that something is closer to Eretz is chashuv. Obviously, it's about chashivas. It's not just that there has to be an order. So that's the Yavitz.
Have you ever heard about if you say Shehechiyanu, spending an item in
It's the
the
opposite.
Yeah, some say that. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but some say that. Yeah,
Of a what?
some say that you yotze with shehakol and smell.
Really? Some opposite.
Some say b'diavad, and
Some
some say.
everybody says not Yotze Shakol. And who else?
מי שטעה בירך שהכל נהיה בדבר הערכת בסמים יצא ידי חובה.
Wow.
Maybe there's two versions of Rabbi Vadia, but that's what Yaakov Yosef says.
Where's the source?
שוב ראיתי למרן האמור שליטה בתשובת כתב יד, שגם כן עליה שבדיעבד יצא.
That's the Rebbe.
He's quoting his father.
Oh,
I don't know, unless there was a later psak.
Even lehatchila, some say. That was
Okay,
some say
בקיצור.
that one recites immediately, but someone fruit is Yotze B'diavad.
באמת? To eat it? Oh, you mean,
The smell.
oh, to smell. To smell, yeah.
Why only B'diavad?
Why,
Okay.
Why only some
would
say?
you- why-
why only some say? Minib some
Right,
is
right,
koilel everything. Why is only some say? That I don't know.
Go to the oral Tzim.
Okay, my friends, now I have to share with you a very nice word. This is from the Sefer V'Zoysa Bracha. Sefer V'Zoysa Bracha says, he asks a question, and there's only a question according to the Shita of the Rishonim, not like the Rambam, which has the Mishnah Berurah Paskins. Basically, just to go over what's going on. What's this? What goodies? Okay. So let's just review for the purpose of the brachas. Let's just review. Who's number 4? Who just joined? Chaim Aaron, is that you? David Leib? Aisha? I'd like to know who's in on the shir. Anyway, by the way, they did get back to me today from Google, and they said I have to fill out a different form, which I started to, and then for some reason it got blocked. I have to finish it. So, whatever. Anyway, Lamaisa, let's just review how the Mishnah Berurah Paskins, which is like many Rishonim, Rashba, let's just say the Rashba is the most significant one of the Rishonim.
You want to say
A vort from the V'Zoysa Bracha. Here's what it is. But it's based on the psak of the Mishnah Berurah, paskening like the first sheet of the Machaber, and so on. So let's just review that sheet. When it comes to Dan switched computers, oh, so it's still just the 3 of you. I mean, the 2 of you, really. Okay. Oh, well. I know it's a Chaim Aaron, I haven't seen it in a while. Okay, so in terms of having fruits of Boy Priya apes and having some of them which are Shivas Aminim and some of them which are not. And let's say, so we know that Shivas Aminim comes first. We also know that Chaviv comes first. What you prefer comes first. What if there's a conflict? And you prefer the one that's not Shivas Aminim. You have an apple and a pomegranate, and you prefer the apple. So most Rishonim say Shivas Aminim. The Rambam says Chaviv. So Machlekes in the Mishnah, Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda.
And Shulchan Aruch says the stam and then the Rambam. Right?
Exactly.
So it's like stam.
Exactly. That's a simple pshat. Mishnah Berurah
planning
Paskins.
to eat both.
If you're planning to eat both. Only if you're planning to eat both. Correct. Now, Shalem, by the way, Shalem, if one of them is complete, so the Shivas Aminim overrides that. In other words, if the broken one is whole and the Shivas Aminim is broken, you still say on the Shivas Aminim first.
Say that again?
There's also a maila to say bracha on a whole fruit rather than a piece of a fruit. So if the Shivas Aminim is a piece and the non-Shivas Aminim is whole, you still say on Shivas Aminim. Shivas Aminim overrides Shleimus. But Shleimus overrides Chavivus. That means if you have an apple which is broken, and you have an orange which is whole, and you prefer the apple, You make the bracha on the orange. You make the bracha on the whole one over the chavivas. So the bottom line is,
I understand the Havirus, it's like a power branch that goes, at the end of the day, you can always go with.
that's the Rambam, not the Rashba. Mishnah Berurah Pasuk like the Alter Rebbe Pasuk. I'll tell you that in a minute. Now I'm telling you the Mishnah Berurah, the first opinion of the Mechaber, Yaakov Yosef. So they say that the totem pole, in terms of the importance, Shivas Aminim, Shalem, Chaviv. Chaviv is on the bottom of the totem pole. Okay? And the Rambam says, like you said, Chaviv is the top. And the Alter Rebbe says, Machlokes, there's no psak. According to the Alter Rebbe, do whatever you want.
Why is it not psak?
Well, the Alter Rebbe holds, listen, the Alter Rebbe, in the Seder Dafka. In the Seder Dafka, the Alter Rebbe oftentimes does not follow the Achronim. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call it Shulchan Aruch and Achronim, but he often will go back to the Rishonim and ask him from the Rishonim, and differently than Achronim. So the Maisa, in the Seder, he says,
Are there any specific things?
in the Seder, he says, do whichever you want. There's no Achreya in his opinion. There's no clear psak. Do whichever you want. Okay, but this whole Dvar Torah is not based on the Alter Rebbe. It's based on the Mishnah Berurah, the style of the Mechaber, but that's, the order is Shivas Aminim, then Shalem, then Chavivas. Now, when it comes to two different brachas, that means you have Hadama.
Whole overrides chaviv?
Whole overrides Chaviv, yes.
And not shivas.
Not Shivas Aminim. So it's Shivas Aminim, Shleimus, Chavivas. That's the order. Now, when it comes to two fruits, one is Hadama, one is Eitz. And you have Shivas Aminim, let's say one of them is Shivas Aminim, Eitz one obviously. You have Chavivas. What do you do?
You have Shalem.
You have Shalem. What do you do?
I feel like I've seen chaviv.
Exactly.
I know, why is it
Exactly. When it comes to two different brachas, we say the bracha on the Chaviv rather than the Shivas Aminim, even if it means saying an Adama before Eitz. So that means there's two things. We're overriding the Shivas Aminim with Chavivas. We're overriding the Eitz, which has a slight preference to Adama. And none of that, Chavivas comes before Shleimus too.
Only from Adama.
In that case, Chavivas overrides everything by two separate brachas. So what's the pshat? Why is that? Why does it go from the bottom of the totem pole mamish to the top? And the truth is, even though the Alter Rebbe doesn't pass it like that, but the fact is that's the shita of the Rashba. So we have to understand the Rashba regardless of who you pass it. We have to understand the Rashba. So, my friends, here's a very nice vort from the V'zaysa Bracha, but it's based on another point. And the other point is what I was saying last night, that if you set a bracha on a lesser item in the totem pole, in order to cover a higher item, you have to mamish have it in mind specifically. If you just know it's coming, or you have it in front of you, but you didn't actually have in mind to be yotzeh, you're not yotzeh, you're not motzeh it. So what's the idea? Based on that halacha, he comes up with the understanding that the whole idea of saying a bracha on the more important of the two when they're the same bracha is kind of the concept of ikar and tafel. We need to say, we see from that halacha, it's not right that something so important should be secondary to something less important. It's not mistaver. Okay, if you mamish had it in mind, even though it's more important, it can subjugate itself. But if you didn't have it in mind, how can something so important be subjugated to something less important? 1 second. So it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like it's not mamish ikar and tafel in terms of the way you're eating it, but in terms of the bracha, we want the bracha to be in something that is more important compared to the thing of lesser importance. So here's what it is. When it comes to the same bracha that you're making on two fruits, the ikar that we care about is the chashivas of the fruit, focusing on the chashivas of the fruit. As such, shivas aminim is the most important. Sholem is the next important. Chavivas. What's chavivas? Chavivas is what you prefer. That makes it a more important fruit. You are one person of 7 billion people, Baruch Hashem. You want to talk about Yidden, lahavdil, one Yid amongst, I don't know, however many millions of Yidden can Yirbu. That makes it a more important, I mean, for you it's more important, but is it really a more important fruit? When it comes to the bracha that you're saying on two separate brachas, there's no ikar and tafel then. So there, you're just saying two brachas. 1 second.
What bracha?
Well, if you're saying two brachas because you're saying eight and adam and adama. One is shivas amin, one is not, and one is more chaviv than the other. Let's say you have an ananas, you have a watermelon, which you prefer more than the grape. You say the adama first. So here it's different. Here nothing is being moitzi anything else. So it's not about the fruit that's more chashuv or not. You want to make the more important bracha. The more important bracha of these two is the one you want to make first. When it comes to the more important bracha, so the one that you have a chavivus for, the food that you have a chavivus for, you're going to be more excited about that bracha. You're going to be mishabeach Hashem with a greater sayrus. So the bracha is more chashuv, so you say it first. Yeah.
Why can't you say that in the heights?
What do you mean?
Oh, shivas aminim, and I'm gonna eat both tonight. I really want this, but I have to have this. I have a pomegranate, and I have an apple.
Yep.
I love apples.
Yep.
No, but I have to make bracha on my pomegranate.
Yep.
Why can't you say I want to use my excitement and use the apple to bless Hashem at a higher standard?
You could say that, but in terms of ikar and tafel, it's still not going to make the apple a more important fruit. The bracha might be elevated
Well,
to
the
higher
eights
bracha.
is not more important than the adama. Oh wait, is that? The eights is the shivas amin is not more important than the adama that you're eating. We still allow you to do the adama.
No, because there you're going to make both brachas anyway. There you're going to make both brachas anyway. So there's no ikar and tafel because nothing is being put or anything else. You're going to make both brachas. The question is, which bracha do you say first? The bracha that you're going to have more chashivas over the bracha, that's the one you say first. But when you have one bracha over two things, so you're declaring that to be the ikar, you want the one that is more subjectively an ikar to be that one that you say the bracha. Subjectively? Sorry, objectively. I'll take it back. The one that's more objectively the ikar, you want it to be the one the bracha set up.
The fact that if it's a private matter or if it's if you're doing a bracha in front of 100 people, like would you have to basically just go with the Sheva meeting or something?
So they shouldn't have questions. So they shouldn't have questions.
I mean, no, it's kind of doesn't have any bearing on this.
Well, according to the Rashba, you say Shivas Aminim first anyway. I mean, if it's Eitz and Adama or if it's just Eitz. If it's just Eitz, you say Bracha Shivas Aminim anyway. According to the Rashba and the Mishnah Berurah, Yosef. According to the Alter Rebbe, you could do either one. So if you want, you could do Shivas Aminim, no problem. If it's Eitz and Adama,
but it's not your preference. I mean, but you're still, because of you doing a public setting.
no, the Alter Rebbe says that if you have a contradiction between Shivas Aminim and preference, do whatever you want. Because the Malchus is showing you do whatever you want.
So I
If
know I can do whatever I want, but the fact that you're doing a public
Maybe,
lesson, you'll try
Yeah.
to get a lot of people.
maybe,
Huh?
maybe.
It's not mentioned anywhere.
No,
The Rebbe's agreeing?
I'm not saying to change the order, but I'm saying in a case without there, you can do whatever you want. You could do what you want, what the people will learn from. Please. If you do it on the chaver, they're not going to learn from it. If you're going to do it on the chaver, they're not going to learn from it because they don't know what's chaver to you. So they'll show something and they'll learn something.
But I thought he was asking if you're making the bracha on the chavit between the adama and the eights, but you have to be cautious about. Like if I have a what's on the shows a minute that I have a pomegranate and I have a watermelon.
Yeah.
I personally like watermelon over pomegranate,
Mhm.
so I'm going to make an adama over the eights.
Before the eighth.
You know, make a adama before the eights.
Right, right.
So people are going to look at me like, you don't know Hilchos Brachos. Like, well, yeah, you mind? No, they don't know Hilchos Brachos.
Exactly.
I know,
It's a
but I'm
chance.
saying,
It's
you
an
know,
opportunity to teach them.
Yeah,
Mama
but
Shabachaya.
it's probably not gonna.
They're just going to be like, not only did he not make the Boy, what is it? Not only not make the right proper order, you're missing out on Shilas and Minim.
It's mamish a teachable moment. Are you going to miss out on a teachable moment just to bend to the pressure of public opinion? Or are you going to do the
Well,
right
I was
thing?
thinking more of Beit and Yikiyah, meaning like, don't. You should probably say something.
You could say something, but by all means.
Right. You're supposed to teach something.
By all means, give a little shear, and then you say the bracha.
This is the cool animal they make. All right, and I've seen the Rabbi says it himself. When
This
it comes to Adam and Eitz,
No, it's not L'Kuli Alma. It's not L'Kuli Alma. Because the Gemara says in that case, Eze Sheyirtza Yakta. Because the Machlekes are showing them, does Eze Sheyirtza Yakta mean the Chaviv, the one you want? Or does it mean, whatever you want makes a difference? You understand? So there's no opinion that you say on the Shivas Amin. Some say you dafka say on the Chaviv. Other one says you can do whatever you want. But nobody says dafka on the Shivas Amin. See what I'm saying?
it's either equal or the Chaviv wins.
Exactly. But the Ma'aseh we pass on the Chaviv. That's what we pass.
What was our bless on Schnitzel? Don't be complicated. What was the Rav bless on Schnitzel?
I heard a long shear from Rav Deitch, and his bottom line was, if it's a thick layer of schnitzel, you should cut it open and say shahakal first, change order of the brachas because of the suffix, and then say mezanis.
If you want to go there, we're going to start here.
No, it's okay. You're not coming in here. No, we'll stay here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Said it, Gemara.
I'm really doing it.
They were in the base medrash till now. Now they're in here, but they're going to make noise. But he said we could change to the base medrash.
It's fine.
So a bit of noise.
Well, it's okay. We already,
I've never heard that. So make a separate them.
Yeah.
Separate the thickness.
Yeah, say shahakal first.
Maybe if it's thick, because if it's not thick, he's making shakal anyways.
He's making shahakal.
If it's a thin layer, what's the svar to make shakal if it's a thin layer? Kol sheyesh boy. What's that? Kol sheyesh shows a minim. Well, my sense, it just feels weird to make a mizanah on shit.
That's what you can put.
Schnitzel
Mizanah
Rabbi.
never becomes up. That was the one I just tried to say out loud.
Schnitzel Shakor, Rabbi, right? Schnitzel Shakor.
The minhag is to say shahakal.
So who said Mizanot?
Minigo svar to say mizanah.
Really?
Mizanot?
Yeah, everyone I've ever seen.
I never said Mizanot.
Interesting.
I do Shakor. Hebronit I do Shakor.
Schnitzel ish was a tzipui shel kemach.
יש גם כזה שניצל that they make out of cornflake crumbs, שתדע לך. And then you can say shahakal, no problem. But
So if it's thick, separate because of suffix brachos.
Yeah.
Make a shahakal.
first, because he holds that the ikr, if it's thick, is mezonos. So if you were to say mezonos first, you wouldn't be able to say shahakal, and it would be too late.
Why can't you just make a shahakal? That's not to make it.
No, because he
You
holds.
separated it anyways.
What do you mean? You want to eat this schnitzel too?
You separated it.
You separate a piece.
You separated a piece of mizanah.
You're not scraping the whole thing off. You open it up.
Right.
You have a
Separated
piece.
type of
So the point is, he holds, if you would say mezonos first, then you wouldn't be allowed to say shahakal, because it's a suffix if you could say shahakal. If you say shahakal, for sure it doesn't cover the mezonos, so then you could say the mezonos.
I'm trying to get what you're saying. If I'm gonna open my eyes. If you have mizonos and the meat, so if I make the shahakal, because for sure the shahakal is not covering the mizonos.
Correct.
But the mizonos
Might cover it,
might cover what?
that piece.
Of what? Of nothing? Of just chicken?
Well, it's part of the
I
schnitzel.
just separated. It was the whole
Yeah,
point
but it's part
separated.
of the schnitzel.
But that was the point of separating. I have two different pieces now.
When it's cooked together, it's not pashut. Then you can say it's not pashut at all. If you have chicken soup, and the chicken soup has a carrot in it, you take the carrot out, and you say shahakal on the soup, the pashtus, you still cannot make a bracha on the carrot, because it was cooked with the soup. It's part of the soup. Say shahakal, you're done. So just because you have a piece of chicken that came from this schnitzel separated. If mazonos is the bracha, the pashtus, it covers it. So,
Unless Rabbi, if he has, he will take something completely different to do prasim. Corn is not another place.
Fish.
Right.
honestly, Moshe's here. Honestly, I don't really know. I can't say I remember this year why a thin layer of schnitzel he wasn't choishish. But I think his vort was that when, it's not his vort, I'm saying, I think the vort he was quoting, maybe Rabbi Yashiv, I don't remember who it was, that there's a svara to say that even though kol sheyesh by means that anything that has mashivas aminim is mazoinus, is only if it's there in a way that people consider it chashav. That the flavor of the mazoinus is there in a significant way.
That's why the thick.
That's why if it's thin, so it's not considered chashav, it's not so noticed, doesn't really change the flavor so much. That was the vort that he was saying from, I think, Rabbi Yashiv. Thick because it's a significant, amount, and therefore it has more chashivas. That's why he was saying to do the opposite. But I'm not so clear.
What does it do?
Lamaisa, my wife makes it with cornflakes and Baruch Hashem. I don't have to worry about it. If I would be in a situation, I would follow that psak because that's what he passed in, and even though I'm not 100% clear on the reason, but that's what he did pass in. Okay. I believe we are going to be learning the halachas of Shehechiyanu.
We didn't finish it.
No, that chapter continues with the Shehechiyanu. The chapter starts with the Savim, and then it moves on to Shehechiyanu. And then it continues with Shehechiyanu in the next chapter on good news. This chapter is Shehechiyanu on fruits.
Why anything separated?
I don't know. It is interesting. It's interesting that this chapter is smells and Shehechiyanu, and the next one is Shehechiyanu on Nutza. There is a connection, by the way, between the bracha on smell and the bracha of Shehechiyanu, because in theory you could make that bracha of Shehechiyanu without eating. You could make it just on seeing the fruit, which in a way is similar to smelling, which you don't have to eat it. But let's learn. Let's see. Yud Beis Al Rebbe says, if you see a new fruit that renews itself from year to year, right? It has seasons. It's a seasonal fruit. It grows in seasons, or even twice a year. And I saw in Rabbi Green's Sefer that he brings a source for the concept of saying Shehechiyanu on a fruit that has 2 seasons a year from the Kohanim. The Kohanim apparently would say Shehechiyanu when they came to their day in the Beis HaMikdash. They got to eat a carbon mincha for the first time in a half a year because it was 48 Mishmoris Kahuna every 24 weeks. They got to do that. So that was considered seasonal. So we see that twice a year, it could even be 3 times a year because 52 weeks in a year, it's just 48 weeks. But B'kitzur, we see that half a year, more or less, is considered a season. So, if you get pleasure from seeing it, make the bech of Shehechiyanu. Even if you see it in your friend's hand or on the tree.
Without eating?
Daniel says we didn't finish 11. I'm pretty sure we didn't, but we'll go back to it afterwards. Let me finish 12 first. Sorry?
If someone eating that and it's new for me, I should do Shehechiyanu?
Minadin. Just by seeing it, according to the din of the Gemara, just by seeing it, you could make a bracha. If you get pleasure from seeing it. Like a farmer, he goes into his field, he sees the new fruits. Shehechiyanu.
Oh.
Minadin. We're going to see. We're going to see. If you don't get pleasure from eating it, you don't make a bracha until the time of eating it. So I just want to check my WhatsApp, see if anybody's adding any comments. Smicha. Oh, David is here. Okay, very good. So the point is the oilam nagu. So if you don't get pleasure from seeing it, you don't make a bracha until you eat it. The oilam, right? The world, people in general, have the minhag not to make the bracha until they eat it.
It would have been the hana just by seeing it if you're not a farmer.
It's a beautiful fruit.
Yeah. Even if you're not from it, you're connected to nature. Connected to nature, you get pleasure out of seeing nice new things. The oilam has the minhag not to make a bracha until they eat it. Between a person who gets pleasure from seeing it and a person who doesn't. So that way we make it simple. We tell everybody make a bracha when you eat it. The Alter Rebbe Paskins, not like the minhag ha'olam which the Mishnah Berurah brings, to say Shehechiyanu first and then Priya Eitza Priya Adama. The reason for that is, there's two reasons for that. Reason number one is that the Ikar Hadin, you can make the bracha already when you see it. So it's like, why should you say the bracha after Ha'etz when it's kind of a hefsek, when you could say it beforehand? That's reason number one. Reason number two is that there are some Rishonim that hold that the bracha of Shehechiyanu, even on fruit, is Birchos, is like voluntary, not mandatory. The Maisa we pass that is mandatory, and the bracha on good news is voluntary, because that's subjective. If you're happy, if you're not happy, whatever. But here we pass that it is mandatory. But because the Rishonim that pass that is voluntary, so they say again, why should we say it after Ha'etz if it doesn't have to be said? Rather say it before, so it's less of an interruption. But like the Mishnah Berurah brings, there is a minhag ha'olam to say the bracha afterwards. And the reason for that is, since the minhag is to say the bracha b'shas achila, you eat it, so you want to make it as close as possible to the eating. After you say the bracha, so your mom is ready to eat it. So that's like the greater time of hana. That's the.
Not because of Tadir?
Sorry?
Not because of Tadir?
I don't think so. What do you say? Matawa? No? And bracha pichal noch nie slakt in the varach as Birchos Pri. I was Shehechiyanu machkat to the Pri. Come on, take a look at the Basham Chedesh and Meshvis Munchu. Meyachav Nagur levarach b'shas achila m'ken achila geremes lavrach. Birchos achila kedemes. Voich Birchos achila tadir shechem and tadi. You're right. When I tell the he brings both reasons. Can't add the barbers or nothing. Seder?
Seder?
Yeah, he brings two things. First of all, because of Shas Achila, and that's Shas Achila, and second of all, Tader. Tader Shen and Tader.
Just Achila is kind of hard because mom's about to eat. I mean, the more about to eat, or
Exactly.
it's only a
that's-
minute ago. I mean, you don't make the bracha until the time that you're going to eat it. So I have to say that it's after my bracha. There's probably a reason not to say it after your bracha.
That's correct. That's already considered Shas Achila. Before there's not Shas Achila, you're not allowed to eat it yet. So the bracha, that's mamish, you're ready to eat it.
It's like
Yeah,
getting a little extreme.
yeah.
Even if you did say it and then didn't eat it, nothing was wrong. Now you're gonna say a bracha and then have to interrupt before you eat.
סליחה. כל טוב, רפואה שלמה. אין בעיה.
Anyways, that was just my rant. We finished it.
Yeah.
פתחת לשון, יותר לדעת שלי.
לשון? איי.
זה גם הלשון וגם הזה.
מה עשה תפרים על הלשון?
מתי הוא, השן של נשברה. אז כשהוא עבד על זה, הכל רדום, ואז הוא לבד היה, בלי הסיסטם. אז השלשון לבד היא זזה בגלל שהכל פתוח. אז עד שהוא הביא את הסיסטם, כבר הוא עשה נזק.
איי.
אז זה כואב, זה ממש.
וואו.
עכשיו האדמה יוצאת.
תגדל לנו.
יהיה טוב. עכשיו נתן לי.
Alright, רפואה שלמה.
עכשיו לא עבר איזה בשם.
בסדר.
Going back to the, why so many fruits and not vegetables? So
It's vegetables too. Kasha, vegetables too. Vegetables too.
I've never heard of anyone making a bracha on a vegetable.
He doesn't say vegetables, but he's not machalik. He doesn't
It
differentiate.
says priyadam, I just saw. What did you say?
Exactly, sorry. You're right, exactly. He says clearly. Priyates or Adama, either one.
Never seen anyone make a. What's a common example of something you would make a? Targish tov. What's a common?
I mean,
melones.
yeah, there are definitely some melons, some berries, maybe
Nowadays,
strawberries. I mean, the truth is, you can get strawberries nowadays anytime, but they are seasonal. They only grow at certain times. They bring them to Miami throughout the year, but if you live in a
what's the thing
place,
with that? Is that the halacha? Meaning, if it can be found in the stores and throughout the year, so you never make a bracha on it. I've heard that by like everyone. That's why most people don't make brachas. That if it's found, you don't make a bracha. It has to be like a chiddush to you that it's
Right.
there.
Right.
Today's they can source anywhere in the world, so you could have basically anything all year long.
Which
right?
is what we have. I've never seen a time that they run out of most fruits.
And they,
We have watermelons all year
you
round.
see on the price, no? And the strawberries,
quality.
they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. So it's depending on the season.
Right. No, but there are some fruits that you won't find in regular stores. You'll find them in specialty stores. You won't find them in regular stores.
That's true.
A lot of summer fruits. They only hit the regular stores, Publix, Walmart, Costco. They're only there in the summer. In the winter, you could go to special stores, expensive stores, and get them.
Yeah, but all the regular fruits.
Regular fruits, apples, oranges, pears,
Apples
grapes.
are mekadesh, mishana, mishana.
I don't know if they are because I see them. I see them all the time. Oranges also.
So does it matter if it's
I think it's a winter fruit. I think apples are a winter crop. I actually don't think that they harvest them in North America in the winter, but they bring them and they have them all around in the summer too.
so what are we passing? We're passing that.
I think if they're easily accessible, I don't think you make a bracha throughout the year ever. But the ones that you have to search to find, could be you do. Could be you do. I personally make a bracha on the summer fruit because I don't see them at all around during the winter. For me, it's a
Half the
simple.
year goes by.
No, it doesn't have to be all
We
year.
just saw. We just
It
saw.
doesn't have to be all year. It has
Right, we
to
know
be
we did
seasonal. Yeah,
Pamayim Mashana.
exactly.
Right, that's a very big misconception.
Yeah.
It has to be, you didn't eat it for 12 months. It has nothing to do with that. That's with the fruit.
Chapter 11, yes. I didn't know what you meant. I thought you meant halacha 11. We are finishing chapter 11. We just did number 12, Daniel. Okay, when I said 12, I didn't mean chapter 12. I meant halacha 12. We just did halacha 12, and now we're doing halacha 13. Oh, sorry. A person who made a bracha, when he saw it, did not miss out if he had pleasure. Because the fact is, he followed the din of the Gemara. It's no problem. I did see, I just saw now the Yaakov Yosef, but Rabbi Green brings it also. Nice for. He says the whole thing about waiting till Shas Achila is a minhag. Okay, so it's a good thing to keep the minhag, and you may as well wait till it's Shas Achila. But let's say there's a situation that is not going to be a Shas Achila. It's not going to be a Shas Achila. It so happens to be this is the last fruit. And somebody else is eating it, not you. And you enjoy seeing it. You get pleasure from seeing it. So he says you can make the bracha.
Wow.
Similar thing he says about fruits that you're not going to be able to make the bracha on because people don't consume them in a way that allows you to make a bracha. Basically, if fruits are processed in a way that after they're processed, they don't look new anymore, like for example, you make jam out of them. Jam you can keep for a year or two, it's still good. So there's no way of telling that it's new. So that does not get a bracha. So let's say you're going to process these fruits into jam, and that's what you're doing. You have a crop, you're not eating them. So if you don't make a bracha, you're not going to be able to make a bracha. Also, it says you're allowed to make a bracha.
Actually, in ER, there was the
Bracha on fruits, on the blossom of trees. No.
It's the first time we see it in.
No, because that's not a fruit.
Once
it's fruits, you don't say it. You say it on the flowers. Flowers, you don't say Shehechiyanu. You only say it on the fruit. No, it's the whole point is that it's flowers, a fruit-bearing tree, but it's the buds, it's the blossoms. Yeah.
If I walk into a specialty store and I see 15 different fruits, can I make a bracha on each one by just seeing them? Let's say I don't want to buy them. Is that also into this category? You can make a bracha on the Riyah?
Oh, because you're not going to buy them. Is that what you're saying?
In the mood. I mean, I don't want to spend $6 on each fruit or whatever it is. And
Could be.
I can make a bracha on each one, or I make.
No. In general, you can always make one Shehechiyanu. That's in general, Riyah or Achila. If you're eating a bunch of Shehechiyanu fruits and they're all on the table in front of you, you just say one Shehechiyanu. Cover them all. Yeah, for sure.
Why bracha?
That's exactly it. It's bracha and surcha.
Huh?
It is a bracha and surcha if you say more than one.
Also, if you get 2 pieces of clothing or 2.
Of course, absolutely. One Shehechiyanu, no question. For that matter, if you have clothing and fruit and you happen to be doing them at the same time, same thing. Rosh Hashanah night, all those fancy fruits. If 2 of them happen to be new, you make separate brachas. It was in today's Daf Yomi. You learned Daf Yomi? It was in today's Daf Yomi.
I learned by advance.
Never heard of that problem so far.
There was an amazing fort in today's Daf Yomi in the art scroll. Amazing. I have to tell my friend about it before I forget. So we say it in Ketoret. The wine from Cyprus, they used to soak the tziporen spice in it to make it more pungent. But meraglayim, which is translated as urine.
No, it's the river, no?
So you heard the word. You heard the word already? Meraglayim translated as urine. Urine would be better to do that purpose. But you can't bring urine into the Beis HaMikdash. It's not respectful. So some say that meraglayim is not urine. It's the water of a certain river that was called raglayim.
Right outside the Beis HaMikdash.
Oh, really? Is that what it was? Okay. And that water happened to be very strong. I don't know what that means, whatever. And it was able to bring out the smell of this spice. So why would they not bring it in? Because it's not nice to bring something that has a name of meraglayim into the Beis HaMikdash. Not that it's urine, but it's called meraglayim. It's not nice. See how careful you have to be with your language. which is a source for my wife's minhag. My wife has a minhag. They sell a juice called Naked. She doesn't allow it at the table. If we don't buy it, but if somebody brings it for us, we pour it into a pitcher in the kitchen, and that's how it comes. It doesn't come to the table like that. It's not nice. So that's a source. Anyway, okay. Lashon Nakiya. Yeah, that's correct.
In regards to the order of the brachos, in Sukkot, there's one night, the first day we say Shehechiyanu, Sheba Sukkah, and the other day we
Switch it, yeah.
switch it. Has anything to do with it?
It has to do with the sukkah or the yontif. It has to do with the sukkah or the yontif. The first night we say it on the sukkah, so we say it right away. Second night, even if the first night was before sukkahs, we're already yotze on the sukkah. Because theoretically, you can make the bracha shalom on the sukkah before. That's what it has to do. It has to do with the sukkah or the yontif. First night it's on the sukkah. Second night it's only on the yontif. Okay. Yud Gimel. We only make a bracha when the fruit is complete. Meaning to say it's fully ripe. Nevertheless, in Beirach Meshoyitzia Peres Shemur LeBracha, if it's enough that you could make a bracha on it, it's edible, like we explained in Perek Vav, and you already made Shehechiyanu, it's a last law Shehechiyanu. You have to make another one when they're ripe. If you did not make a bracha on the first time you saw it, based on the din of the Gemara, or on the first eating based on our minhag, you can make it on you should make it on the second eating or seeing without Hashem's name and without Melech. Instead of saying Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech, you say Baruch Shehechiyanu. Baruch Shehechiyanu.
I thought it missed the chance to say.
No, it's a machlokes. So because it's a machlokes, you say without Hashem's name. Some say you missed it. Some say you can still say it. Because of the doubt, you say without Hashem's name.
How do you say that?
Baruch Shehechiyanu. Whenever it says B'lo Shem Malchus, it doesn't mean Baruch Ata Melech Ha'olam. It means Baruch and go straight to the end, like Baruch Shepatarani. Baruch Shepatarani B'nei Sheshalzu by the Bar Mitzvah, and the same thing Baruch HaMakadosh Rabim, Baruch Ha'olamim. You don't say Ata or anything. You just go straight to the end.
Okay. Ben Ish Chai writes a lot of times about Yisrael brachos, and he says instead of not to make it, you should do it with
Think it.
Lishan Malchus, but you should think.
Baruch, and then think the middle, and then
think.
Interesting. Okay. Now, Rabbi Green points out, and this is a chiddush to me, because I always understood that Achila Rishoina meant the first fruit. The first fruit. You can't do it on the second Achila with Hashem's name. You could do it on the first Achila. I always thought it meant the first fruit. Like if you didn't say it on the first bite, second bite, third bite, until the last bite. He says Achila Rishoina means the first eating session. Could be half a fruit, could be 5 fruits. The first eating session. Meaning to say, as long as the bracha ha'etz counts, you didn't leave the building, you didn't stay, you're Masiach Das, you're still eating, in the same setting, you could still say Shehechiyanu. But if you finished eating and you went to the next room or building, whatever, anytime you're going to have to say another bracha ha'etz, because it's a new achila for that purpose, whether it's the same physical fruit or different, you can't say Shehechiyanu again with the bracha, with Hashem's name.
I didn't get it. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't paying attention. I didn't really get it.
One more time.
Yeah. What did the Alter Rebbe said that the Rebbe saying?
The Alter Rebbe says Achila Rishona,
Right. Yeah.
but that you could still say Shehechiyanu with Hashem's name. Achila
As long as
Shniya.
you're in Achila Rishon.
Exactly.
Meaning, as long as
So what's Pshat Achila Rishona? I always thought it meant the first
long as you're
first
sleeping.
nectarine. You finish the first nectarine, you're done. You want a second nectarine, it's too late. It's Achila Shniya. He says it's not the physical fruit. It's the
session.
It's the session. It's the eating session. Just want to see in the V'zayis HaBracha.
You don't have to say before you.
Yeah, L'chatchila before. No, L'chatchila before. But B'diavad, you could say it during that first Achila. What does Achila mean? That's the only thing. Let me see what he says. Yeah. So Rabbi Mandelbaum agrees with Rabbi Green. Shomea? If you forgot to make Shehechiyanu, you ate the fruit, you can say Shehechiyanu as long as you're eating the first time. After that, you cannot. It seems, from the words of the Magen Avraham, that as long as you're oisik in the first achila and you didn't finish it, you could still say Shehechiyanu. So it's not about the actual fruit. It's about the asik and achila. Kol zman she'osuk ba'achila v'lei hifsik hefsik she'matzricha levorach sheinas bracha rishayna. לדוגמה, אם מונח לפניו צלחת שלמה של מין פרי חודש, דבר שכינו כל שלגמרי לאכול מה שיש בצלחת. Okay, here's a nice idea. If you have another Pri Chadash, you could always bring it on and say Shehechiyanu and cover the first one too. Okay, we continue and we say.
What we don't say on other things besides fruits and vegetables.
Like what?
I don't know, somebody never ate sushi.
Sushi is not seasonal.
Huh?
Sushi is not seasonal.
It's only because it's season. Or
See, it has to be seasonal. If you never ate an
never
apple,
in his life
it doesn't make a
tasted
difference.
something like
it has to be seasonal. If you never ate an apple in your whole life, and it's your first time, you don't say Shehechiyanu. The whole point of
Say
Shehechiyanu,
that apples are seasonal.
I don't know. I see them all the time. I don't know where they grow, but every time I go to Publix, I always see apples.
Because you've seen- oh, yeah.
So my
Because
point
100
is,
years ago,
let's
they
just
weren't
assume they're not seasonal. Let's just assume. I don't know. Take it in whatever example you want. The Shehechiyanu means that you brought me to this time. It's a special time. It's not just that I'm happy, hooray, I get to do something new. I'm going on a roller coaster. Oh, I'm happy. I mean, there is Shehechiyanu for happy occasions, for good news. That's something else. This is Lizman Hazeh. It's a special time. It's only a special time if there's something special about the time. The fact that it's seasonal makes it a special time. That's, by the way, why we don't say Shehechiyanu in the Bein Hazmanim. Some don't say in Sfiras HaOmer, because we don't want to say that it's a special time. It's not really a special time. It's a sad time. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to say that. It's because the bracha is on the time, really.
So if we happen to be in front of our seasonal fruit that was served to us as part of the meal during 3 weeks or whatever, or we don't eat it,
Don't need it.
that's all right. Skip. Or we can eat it-
Hasidim and Sfardim do not.
we can eat it without the shehechiyanu. Because
No,
the
you
opinion
can't eat
is
with
that
the
shehechiyanu is optional.
I know, but we pass on that it's not. You know with Shehechiyanu. The Gross says that you can say Shehechiyanu, and if you dafka insist and you want to eat it, say Shehechiyanu and lie on the ground. Don't eat it without Shehechiyanu. That's not the right way. But
Ashkenazim hold that way.
I'm saying the Gross says that you could make Shehechiyanu in the 3 weeks.
You said Sfardim and-
Sfardim and Chabad and Hasidim do not say Shehechiyanu in 3 weeks. That's how the Mechaber about. I don't know about Aknaz. I think the Mishnah Berurah says also not to, but he quotes that the Vilna Gaon says that you're allowed. So, though, those that follow the Gra.
Maybe
Those
it's
that follow
like,
the
it's
Gra
like,
say.
if it came to you, so don't be new now. But
Yeah,
if it's something that you have to go do, I want to go make a shot.
yeah. No, but there is a case that everybody agrees you can say it. If it's a fruit that you're not going to get later, it's going bad, and it's now or never, then you can say it even in 3 weeks. Okay. Number 14. A fruit that has many species. You make a bracha on every species. This is a chiddush. Most people don't know this. For example, 2 types of fruit of pears, shekarin gedalvin ubarin, that are called gedoilin and barin in Yiddish. She doesn't translate. Sorry. 2 different types of pears. Or for example, 2 types of apples. Those that grow in the orchards and those that grow in the forest. And they obviously are different species. Or for example, cherries, which are called vinksel and kirschen. These are 2 different types of cherries. Even if they have one taste, if they look different, is enough to give them a halach of 2 species, like red and black. So that's
Sometimes the same species may look different because one is more ripe.
Right. So he's not talking about that. He's not talking about that, and he's also not talking about, within the same species, sometimes one might look a bit of a different color. So when a different species, a species of red, a species of black, that's enough. So it's a very, very slight difference for it to have to be a different species. Let's say Shehechiyanu. So there's a lot of different Shehechiyanu opportunities based on this. And my wife gets something called cotton candy grapes. They splice the cotton candy gene into the grapes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know how they got that taste in there, but it's a different species. It definitely tastes different. It has a little, I don't know if it tastes like it or smells like it. Definitely has something cotton candy kind of thing in it. Anyway, but there's a lot of different things like this.
We were allowed to do kilei?
Kilei behema, I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to do. The Rambam Pascha is not allowed to do. He either doesn't count it as one of Shivas V'nei Noach. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure Paschas are not allowed to do kilei behema. I don't think there's an issue with them doing kilei Zerayim.
That's where we were allowed, huh?
No, that's not why. We're allowed to have an even if a Jew does it on Islam because it's considered Zeves Egoyer. That means the cause of the growth is from the two trees, but it's also from the sun and the ground and the water. So it's a few different factors. Some of them are forbidden, some of them are permissible. Zeves Egoyer is mutter to get hana from. So,
Thank you for explaining.
yeah, sure. So the Maisa, a lot of fruits we have today come from that. Grapefruits. What are they called? This one of them, know what I was going to say. The peaches. Nectarines, exactly. Sorry, what were we going to say?
The seasons in regards to the fruits. So if you're in Israel, probably fruit has certain seasons, and in another country, it's different. So let's say if you were in one place, you move to another place.
And now you have
let's say Shehechiyanu fruit in Israel, then you move to Canada, and
you have it again.
And then
right
over there is
right. It's an interesting question. Certainly if
over there would be the opposite season.
Right, but let's say you came at the end of one season and the beginning of the next season. If there was no time in between, and you're going straight from one season to the other, you know what I'm saying? There's no question you don't make a bracha. You go from the end of their summer to the beginning of their summer, and you have it in both places, you can't say Shehechiyanu because it's nothing new to you. Question is, if you had a small break in between, a month break, let's say, is that enough? Here we see from half a year to half a year is a break. But there, in that case, just a small break. That's the shine. I don't know. I'm sure. Ein mevorchen Shehechiyanu. Tesvav. Ein mevorchen Shehechiyanu. Ela al davar hanikar heitev shu chadash. Leinata kirtzba min hayashan. You only say Shehechiyanu on something that is noticeably visible, that it's new, and there's nothing similar from the old stock. Therefore, you only say bracha on fruits that do not last from year to year. So when the new ones come, there's nothing around from the old stock. So it's clearly visible that it's something new. Now, there might be some people who keep it around with tricks. They're a small amount, and we don't worry about them. Meaning to say the average person cannot keep these things from one year to the next. Maybe some people have some airtight containers, I don't know.
They didn't have refrigerators.
They didn't have refrigerators, that's true. But even with refrigerators, there's a limit. You know what I'm saying? There is a limit how long fruit will stay good. So
dry fruit wouldn't be included.
No. Dry fruit, you're never going to say Shehechiyanu, even if it's new, because it's not visibly noticeable that it's new.
To make it last.
Exactly. Once it's not visibly noticeable that it's new, you can't say the bracha. The types of fruits that they put in the cellar and they leave them there for the whole year, for example, the radish and the beets. So those don't go bad. They don't need refrigeration, really. I mean, they have to be kept in a damp place, like he says here, the cellar, whatever. But they don't go bad. Even when they're new, you don't make a bracha. Because there are old ones that look pretty much just the same. So there's nothing new, nothing visibly new about them. Even if you personally didn't eat from them the rest of the year, plenty of other people did eat from them. If the new ones are visibly recognizable in their taste and their appearance, because the old ones are not so fresh looking and tasting, then you could say Shehechiyanu. For example, grits made from new grain, which is clearly noticeable that they are new both in their appearance and superior taste. You asked before, why do we not say Shehechiyanu on other brachas? Here you have it. Grits are mezoinus. The Alter Rebbe says you could say Shehechiyanu on grits. Now you can't say Shehechiyanu on bread, because bread, once you make it into flour, you can't really tell that it's new.
Grits.
What do you mean?
What are grits?
Grits are like oatmeal.
What's it made of?
It's made out of, grain, fresh grain. The grits that are made out of fresh grain are visibly, noticeably different than those made out of old grain, because the fresh grain is puffier, it's softer, and the old grain is harder and drier. So once you make it into bread, you can't really tell the difference. So you're not going to be able to say Shehechiyanu on bread. But on grits, you could say Shehechiyanu. I don't really have grits. The grits that I have, if I ever have them, are made of oatmeal, and this can't really tell what's new, what's not new, but whatever. But if I was...
With the rice, maybe?
The rice we get, it's the same.
Right, we're not bucking rice, but people who are bucking rice, no.
I don't know.
They probably have rice stored.
Yeah, I imagine.
Years back.
I don't know.
Anything else, that type of food that we can make a bracha?
You mean something else like
Something
grain?
that we know, yeah. Something that we know, not a H1.
I did see a question, which he doesn't answer. He just says that the place can discuss it. Is baby goats and baby lambs are seasonal, because the goats and the lambs only mate at certain times of the year. So the baby goats are usually born around the springtime. That's one of the reasons brought, by the way, in Masechet Pesachim, that the Bezdin would sometimes delay Pesach by a month with a leap year, because the baby goats and lambs were too small.
Wow.
So
How old are they? 3 months, no?
no, they
Year?
could be 7 days. But you have to have something to eat. You have to have a kazayas for every person in the family. You know what I'm saying? So
By multiple, no?
you could buy, but if there's only so many flock, you know what I'm saying? So much to go on.
What would they do?
It has to be in its
Add
first year. Second year goat is no good, or sheep for the Korban Pesach. It has to be in its first year. They would add Hadasheni. That was one of the reasons that was for Hadasheni. It wasn't a reason that was on its own, but if there was another reason in addition to that, it was like a supporting reason to add the month.
Siflos.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he questions. He questions himself. He brings the poskim that question that perhaps you could say Shehechiyanu on new goats because they're seasonal. Saying the taste of a fresh baby goat meat or sheep meat. I mean, the sheep and goats are around all the time, but the fresh ones, apparently they taste different. I don't know. Are seasonal. So it's a question he asks, but he doesn't really answer it. Let me see if there's anything else. Well, first of all, he does say that you can make a bracha on cooked fruit as well. Dried fruit not, but cooked fruit, yes.
As long as you can see it.
As long as it still looks new. I'm saying, let's say a gourd, a pumpkin type of thing. So you could say it on Hadama. And if it's a type of Hadama that you cook, no problem, you could say Shehechiyanu. The reason why some people don't make it on vegetables, he says, is that some say not to make it on Yirakas She'inam Chashuvim, unimportant vegetables. And that's why some people don't make it on vegetables at all, because they don't consider it such a big sin.
Yorkos at all? Because it has to be what chashuvim?
It has to be important. They don't consider them important.
Melon or something?
Melon, the truth is melons are, but I think he means more like celery, carrots, but I don't know if they're seasonal anyway. I see them all
I
the
just
time.
saw that the Rambam says the carrots aren't healthy.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird? I think it's like the most healthiest ever.
I don't know.
So if you have a fruit that you don't enjoy, that you don't like, it's the first time it's seasonal, it covers all the Shehechiyanu.
I'm sorry?
A fruit that checks all the, it's fresh, it's new, I mean, it's seasonal, it's everything, but you just don't happen to like it. You don't.
My gosh, my Shehechiyanu is being ruined here by the Sefer. What? Sorry.
That you don't like the fruit. It's seasonal. It's checks all the.
So why are you reading it? To say the bracha Shehechiyanu, second night Rosh Hashanah.
So that's Shehechiyanu.
It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question because he doesn't say that you have to be nena me'achilosei. By the seeing it, he says you have to be nena, you have to enjoy seeing it. By the eating it, I mean, he assumes you get some pleasure from eating it. You mamish don't like the taste.
Are very acidic or very whatever. You don't enjoy it at all.
It's an interesting question. Interesting question. I don't know.
Says the Rambam maintained that carrots are detrimental to one's health. The Gemara Masechet Gittin says that freshly squeezed grapes juice is harmful. Yeah, for Seder bracha. Or men's source, who would give a bracha on unhealthy food. But anyways, isn't that weird, Rambam? No carrots.
All right.
It says here that you don't say Shehechiyanu on wine made from new grapes, so you cannot tell the difference.
All right.
So between new and old. But why would you say if you knew? Because if you know, okay, if you know it's new wine, if you could recognize it, why would you say
If you could recognize it,
that's new?
why not?
Shehechiyanu?
Why not? I mean, if you could say a bracha uncooked, you see, even if it's changed, you could say Shehechiyanu. The issue with wine is that you can't usually tell if it's new. But if it's something that tastes different when it's new, they have wines that they make to drink fresh.
Wines, yeah.
I don't remember what they're called, but I heard about types of wine that they make specifically to drink fresh. I don't see why not. What does he say there? He says you can or you can't.
That you don't do it because you cannot tell the difference between new and old.
Right. But if you could,
It's not at all.
if it's a type of wine that you could tell the difference, I think you would. I think I remember seeing that somewhere.
Just Mishnah Berurah 225:15.
Okay, here's what he says, by the way, about brachas on fruits that are found in the off season. He says even if they're more expensive, and he brings it from Yashiv, even if they are only sold in some stores, because they're accessible throughout the year, he says not to make a bracha.
Safek? Or that's the thing. Not that it'll make a difference.
He just brings yesh shahayru. It's mashma, not everybody agrees with that, but that's the psak from Yashiv. I don't know. I'd rather not ask. I don't know for a fact that you could find, nectarines and cherries throughout the year. Pretty sure you could. Pretty sure you could, but
Right. Those are easy ones, though. Those are ones that you for sure could find, I'm assuming.
yeah.
Depends what store you go to, but there's things that, those, the one the Rav mentioned, the lychee or the whatever, the hairy
Yeah.
things.
Rambutan.
Rambutan?
Rambutan. They look like hairy lychees, yeah.
Right, these type of things I don't think you can find.
Right.
Even in specialty store. Where is a specialty store?
That's a good question.
You have a specialty fruit store?
Yes, places like
Whole
the
Foods?
food market. I don't know, something that's
Here. You listen to this, Emmanuel. If they brought him a fruit that he never tasted in his life, for example, he went to another country and he tasted a fruit he never tasted in his life. If it's not a seasonal fruit and it can be found there all day, he does not make a bracha, even though it's new to him.
Yeah, that's hard to swallow. Yes. I understand it, but it's
Here he says that what were you saying? Hard to swallow what?
I mean, it's somebody that never tested an apple or whatever in his life. Just not to say Shehechiyanu because it's not happen to be seasonal.
What about a mitzvah that you never did in your life? Never, ever put on tefillin in your life. Mamish, never. It's your 13th birthday. You say Shehechiyanu or not?
No.
I'm saying seasonal mitzvahs, you say it. You say shofar, you say it on Megillah, you say it on Lulav. Seasonal mitzvahs, yes. But tefillin, even if it's the first time ever in your life, 13 years, you never put on tefillin. You don't say Shehechiyanu because it's not seasonal. It's your first time. Okay. It's a special thing. It's Zman Hazeh. It has to be something special about the time. Not just that it's new for
The
you.
time in the year, not the time in your life.
Exactly.
That would be
Exactly.
the definition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something special about the time.
The season.
This time. Not for you as a personal experience, but for this time. He does answer your question. Whose question was it? I don't remember. But if you travel from place to place, he says if there was a 30-day break in between, you could say the bracha. I mean, you say if it stopped being available for you 30 days before you left the old place. And then in the new place it's available, you can say the bracha.
Not that you went to a new place and you didn't have it for 30 days, you can make it.
No, same thing, either way. Not that you didn't have it. It wasn't there for 30 days. You didn't have it, it's not what we're talking about. If you
It was available.
wasn't available,
Right.
and then
It was the end of yours and the beginning of theirs was 30 days later.
exactly, then you could. Okay. Why did I start looking in here? It was a question or something. I remember what the question was. What was the question? Okay. With no further ado, let us start the next chapter. Not that we have.
There was a.
No, we didn't say 16. Sorry, thank you for reminding me. I remember. You were asking about other things. You were asking about other things that are new, that are not fruits or vegetables, besides grits, and I said maybe animals. Yeah. Give me a second, please. So again, if you make it into flour and bread, it's not nicker. If you were to eat wheat berries, maybe yeah. So you could take the wheat kernels and make it into a salad. It's called wheat berry salad. Yeah.
You're saying the wheat kernel, if I take it and I cook it and I chomp it.
If it's nicker, if it's nicker with taima and marisa, that it's fresh and it looks, better than the old, then yeah. That's Mazonis. That's what we see. We see that over here.
The esrog is seasonal?
That's a good question. I don't think so. It stays in the tree the whole year round. It gets bigger and bigger, but it's more or less available all year round. Yeah, that's the whole thing about an esrog. I mean, it is seasonal in terms of when it, when it gets bigger, when it's like
When it's harvested.
exactly, but it is available all year round, if I'm not mistaken.
When something's not seasonal, it just continues to grow. Once it's finished, it just continues.
Now, once it's finished, it drops off the tree, and if you don't,
Non-seasonal.
But the tree
No.
keeps producing during the year.
yeah,
That's non-seasonal.
non-seasonal is the tree keeps producing. Seasonal means the summer, winter,
And the tree it's just bare and then it comes back.
exactly. Okay, I don't see him bringing other examples.
In theory, any fruit or vegetable that's located in the north hemisphere or south, above or below certain latitude,
Yep,
are always going to be seasonal because of the winters.
right.
It's only the like bananas or things that are harvested, pineapples in the center of the globe could in theory go on all year long.
Right. I hear you. Daniel is asking, if you go into a store and you see new fruits, do you make Shehechiyanu even if you don't buy it to eat later? So the answer is as follows. If you are planning to eat those new fruits in the season at some point, you're not going to buy these particular ones, you should wait and say it when you're going to eat it. Because that's the minhag, to wait till you say it till you eat it. If you're sure that you're not going to ever buy it this whole season, and you are also sure that you get pleasure from seeing it, then it would seem that you could, based on what we're learning.
Which one will come back first, the Shehechiyanu or on the smell? Something that you qualifies for both.
You make Shehechiyanu smell now.
No, that's what we're learning right now.
That's something
If you're going to
like
smell
you
it,
walk in that store and you grab a fruit that you haven't.
Oh, do you make Shehechiyanu on a tin reach, tov or whatever, mine?
right, I think the smell first, because that Once you eat it, you're not going to have the smell anymore. So the smell first, and then Shehechiyanu.
But if you're not going to eat it, you just foresee.
Oh, if you're not going to just for seeing it. I'm not sure. I guess you see it before you smell it.
You said it first.
Usually. I don't know.
Maybe Tadir?
Tadir is what? Shehechiyanu?
Over here, it's seasonal. Yeah. No.
HaNehenin is more Tadir?
Yeah.
Could be.
First time.
What is
Can't
what?
remember the last time I made HaNehenin.
What?
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I made HaNehenin. Maybe last Sukkot.
Well, the
Anyway.
truth is, it wouldn't be because the frequency of being there is the same. Oh, because no, I'm saying because the HaNehenin, that's what I'm saying. The bracha itself is done more often because it's not. It can be done all. Well, Shehechiyanu also, I guess. Not Tadir really. Shehechiyanu is done all the time. I buy a new suit.
Right.
Tadir is more frequent.
Not sure. Reach HaMeschadesh Mishana L'Shana. A smell that is renewed from year to year. Some say you say a bracha of Shehechiyanu, just like a fruit that is eaten. Some disagree. Therefore, he says to make a bracha with that Shem Malchus, like we said. Okay, I don't want to waste 4 minutes, so we're going to go straight into number 12. Shehechiyanu, rejoicing of the heart. Tova Ametiv, and a change of wine. Mamish, important stuff coming here. Any rejoicing of the heart that comes to a person from the goodness of the world, he has to make a bracha on it. If he has no partner in the good news, he says Shehechiyanu. If he has a partner, he says This is also not so well known. The whole concept of saying is not so well known, but it is important. Good news, you say a bracha. Which bracha? Depends what the good news is. If it's a good news for you as an individual, you say Shehechiyanu. If it's good news that affects a group of people, even one other person besides yourself, you say Atova Hametiv.
On a child?
Child.
On a boy?
You don't. You say Atova Hametiv on a boy.
Yeah. And I saw today that you made a Shehechiyanu on a boy.
No. Atova Hametiv on a boy. Shehechiyanu on a girl.
So why Shehechiyanu?
I have to end the recording for that.
Okay. I mean, we could talk about that. I got it.
All right. So, one more halacha, my friends. If you bought a new house or you bought new clothes, even if you have a similar house, you have your place in the Five Towns and you have your place in Miami Beach or France or the Bahamas, you name it. Or the same thing with clothes, by the way. You have a suit, similar suit, same style. But the fact is, this particular suit is new for you. Same thing if you bought it. What does that mean? If you purchased them once and now purchases the like again. I guess in the previous case, he built it. Yeah, that's what it is. The first case, he built it twice, right? Or he made the first suit himself. He went to the tailor and he had it made. And there you make the same bracha. You say Shehechiyanu the second time as well. Same thing if you bought it twice. Same thing. So you say a bracha on each one. Not only on new ones, even old clothes. You go to the Goodyear, what is it called? Thrift store. And you buy it. Oh, sorry. Goodwill, thank you. As long as they're new to him, he never owned them. But if they were his and he sold them and bought them back, you don't make a bracha because that's not simcha.
Really? Why wouldn't that be simple?
Because you already had it. So you didn't have it for some time, you got it back. It's not so exciting.
You sold it.
I understand, but it's still not It's still not exciting to get the same thing you had before.
I mean, if you had one and you bought another
It's
one.
like a machzik b'shasa, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's
Not
like
the same.
back to that, man.
I don't think there's a. Is there a dam chimud machzik b'shasa? I think there is actually. What is there not?
Did you say there
Machzik
wasn't? I thought you said there wasn't.
b'shasa, it says it's not.
Is that in the first Shulchan Aruch?
What do you mean?
Is that one of the sifim in the Siman of Shulchan Aruch?
It is. There is a simon about dam chimud. Kuf tzadik beis.
I'm saying not circumcision.
Machzik b'shasa.
Kuf tzadi.
Kuf tzadik beis.
Oh, I saw it in the oh, that must have. This thing is basically true.
Pesach Tshuva.
Brings a shine of not circumcision.
Actually, you know what? I think you don't. Pretty sure there's no dam chimud.
Definitely a shine.
I don't think there is. I think there is. Doesn't have to be her first marriage for there to be
Oh.
dam chimud.
See the thing. Machzor Yerushalayim tzrich relationship.
There you have it. Shkoyach. All right. So, but there are different dinim of machzor b'shasa anyway. There are certain dinim that are different in terms of the simcha. That it's not the same. That it's not the same. What are they? I don't remember, but there are definitely dinim. If he bought a new garment to wear, sometimes for himself, sometimes for his household members.
Like a jacket.
Exactly, like a coat, a raincoat. It's shared, like you keep it in the front hall cupboard.
Wow.
You're going
so
out, you can use it. Because it's a shared, it's something shared.
That's so cool.
Because you have a shutuf. You have a partner.
That's a no-hig thing to do.
I've never heard of anybody doing it now.
That's very cool. It
It
makes a lot of
is.
sense, but it's just very interesting.
Yeah.
What's an important piece of clothing to
Yeah.
switch, you know?
Yes, we're going to get into that, Mr. Hashem. All right, my friends, I don't feel we've properly covered the Shehechiyanu on fruits because I honestly didn't go through the Sfarim I usually go through. So we will, Mirz Hashem, revisit that next time and continue Mirz Hashem more of chapter 12.
When is the seal for the sign? Did they make a date?
Actually, no.
Did they get tested?
I suggested a certain date, and they